Young women, 2030s of Reddit, in your early experiences with dating, what are some lessons you learned that you wish to pass along to other young women or to young men? If someone shows you that they don't want you, just walk away. Don't cling, or freak out, or try to make them see how awesome you are. They don't and they won't. Keep your dignity and use that energy for something, or someone else. Your comment burns, and I need it. You can't convince someone to love you. If you're brokenhearted, the thing that heals you is space and time from that person, and filling in the hole they left in your life with other, positive things. Seeking contact with the person who broke your heart is picking at the scab. Being alone is better than being in a bad relationship. It can be hard to leave someone just because you've become comfortable, but if they're bringing you down all the time and you don't enjoy spending time with them anymore and don't want to be with them, then you'll feel better when you leave them even though you'll feel more alone. It's worth waiting for the right person to date. Don't settle. There is a huge difference between this person I'm dating now is better than the person people before and this person I'm dating now is actually good for me. Just because they are not as bad as other people you may have dated does not mean they're actually good partners. This is also relevant for friends, I think. You're not trying to be liked, you're determining your compatibility. I wasted a lot of time being likable and accommodating and unhappy because I wasn't being honest about myself and my needs. Once I changed that perspective, dating became a lot healthier for me. I'd also recommend the book Attached by Levine and Heller. It made me so much smarter about agreeing to first date and further dates, in terms of determining good fits. I've applied that mentality to job interviews for several years, but never thought to apply it to relationships. That's brilliant advice. Thank you. If you can't be honest to your best friends and family about how he's actually treating you, he's not treating you right. This can probably be good advice to any gender in this age group that is shy like I am. It took me a long time to realize this myself, but I finally got there. You aren't obligated to be someone's entertainment, and vice versa. If they aren't trying to have fun, it isn't your job to provide it. It's okay to just relax, and awkward silence isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you can't think of anything to say, that doesn't necessarily mean you messed anything up. You don't have to be on all the time. I used to beat myself up a lot because I had such a hard time talking to people I had crushes on. I'd be shy the whole date and then apologize afterwards via the internet for not being the same kind of exciting as I was during text. Just because you didn't think of enough jokes doesn't mean you're boring. Just because you didn't share enough about yourself doesn't mean you're nobody. First impressions are not the most important part of building a relationship. It's okay if it takes a third or fourth impression to leave your unique mark. Just because you didn't think of enough jokes doesn't mean you're boring. Just because you didn't share enough about yourself doesn't mean you're nobody. This really resonated. Thank you. Don't stay with someone if it isn't working. You are not obligated to continue a long-term relationship just because it's been long-term. If crap needs to change and it can't or won't, call it. There's a difference between a relationship that takes work and a relationship that doesn't work. Nobody is able to read your mind. You have to communicate. Your feelings are valid most of the time, and you should feel free to talk to your whomever you're dating. It is okay to protect yourself. If you encounter a toxic person, you are by no means required to keep them in your life. Do not change yourself to please someone else. This is important. You will change as you grow up, but don't change on the account of someone else. Breakups will happen. They're inevitable sometimes. Make sure you are emotionally and mentally sound enough to handle it if it happens. In my experience, I've found that if you can't be weird together, or let the quirky things you do normally just happen, then it won't work. My ex would always give me odd looks or make fun of me when I did a little strange thing here and there. He also made fun of my voice, so there's that. Overall, just not hiding who you are to please the other person. Sometimes I hum old German march melodies and my GF fills in with the drum line by slapping her knee or banging a ladle on the pot when we cook together. A bit past your age range, but here are my pearls of wisdom. If he's not treating you well when you're first dating, know that it won't get any better as time goes on. Also, he just not that into you is a thing. If he wants to make you a priority in his life, He will. If he makes a million excuses why he can't see you or make time for you, just move on. You will save yourself a lot of wasted time and heartache. The person you date should make you a better version of you, not the opposite, i.e., he should bring out your best, not your worst. Also, he's not that into you is not reflection of who you are as a person at all. There really is a thing called bad timing, poor chemistry, etc. No need to waste sleep on it. Just keep being your awesome self and move on to someone who is that into you. Be an adult about your feelings, good or bad. Playing cute at this stage isn't really being honest with yourself or the other person. Don't gloss over things that make you mad or irritated or hurt because they build and turn something minor into a huge wall to get over. A lot of guys will claim a latex allergy to get out of using protection. Latex-free condoms exist and are accessible. If you see a red flag, do not ignore it because by the time it's very bad, it's almost too late to break free from the person. When you're wearing rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. Don't move too fast. Experience your relationship and allow time to show you who your chosen one really is. About 90% of my friends who married before 1 year of knowing someone are divorced now. Just food for thought. Dating older guys in high school isn't nearly as fun as people make it out to be. If something really truly bothers you about someone, it won't ever stop bothering you. Don't stick around and wait to see. Big 1. Talk to your significant other. Every single problem is solved by either discussing it and coming to a solution or breaking up. I was watching Pineapple Express with the commentary on one day, no idea why, and they were making fun of how Seth Rogen's character is the grown man dating high schoolers and how the only people who don't realize it's freaking lame and weird are the high schoolers and the grown men dating them. That cracked me up, but I'd never even given it that much thought before. It's really true. Learn to be okay with being single. Seems like lots of people bounce from one relationship to the next and don't even learn to love and appreciate themselves. OMG, the freedom of being single, and better yet living alone. Life changing. It's scary thinking about being alone in either of those respects, but once you do it, oh man, I am in no hurry to find anybody and interrupt the peace I have found. I didn't mean to sound anti-relationship, just expressing that a good break can feel really good for oneself. Don't compare your timeline to anyone else's. Don't feel like you're missing out on something because all of your friends are getting married or having babies before you. Also, you are so much younger than you think you are. Do not have sex with someone you don't want to have sex with just to be polite. All this happens to younger ladies more than you think. All the time. Your body is not a tool to make other people feel good. The worthwhile people will not ditch you if you say no. If you are going on a date with someone for the first time, it never hurts to let a friend or family member know who you are going with and where when you are going. Tell them that if they haven't heard from you by a certain time, they should start trying to contact you or find you. I've always shared my location on iPhone with at least one person and told them what my plans are for first dates. Don't be afraid to be single. You have to learn to be happy with yourself before trying to find that person who makes you happy. Anyone can find themselves in an abusive relationship, even if you're smart, attractive, or successful. It's not a failing on your part, no matter how they make you feel or what they tell you did. You don't have to be ashamed. People will understand. There's help out there. I had an emotionally abusive partner in my teens. And my advice for younger teen girls out there is to recognize when love is love versus love is abuse. My partner forbid me from seeing friends and family on weekends as that was date days, would call into all hours of the night if we were fighting because he cared, would ban me from certain clothes that were too provocative because I didn't need to show off, had to be in the same mall I was if I was hanging out with a lone male friend because he was protecting me, and tore me away from my friends with his behavior because it was us against the world, and then eventually assaulted me because I thought you'd like it like that. Don't get sucked in like I was, because I was incredibly shy and afraid to speak up. Be strong. Sometimes you date good people that you just don't have chemistry with. Nobody has to be the good guy or bad guy. You deserve someone you get fireworks with. Don't just settle. Don't be afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. It'll suck, but staying with the wrong person will suck more. You don't want to have the right person come into your life when you're stuck in a relationship. Fireworks fade too though. Don't ignore something worthwhile just because it's not the most exciting dopamine rush you've found to date. Trust your gut. When the warning bells go off, run. I don't care how cute he is or how much money he has. When the signs point to crazy, possessive, abusive, alcoholic, etc., get out. You don't need to waste your valuable time waiting for him to change. This for both genders. If they seem nuts, run the fricking other way. Be upfront with what you want out of a relationship and make sure he is too. If a dude asks you to hang out, there's a decent chance he's trying to smash. May seem obvious, but I was oblivious and dumb and had to learn that. As a young, naive thing, I also had to learn the hard way about hanging out, especially if it's out of the blue at 11 PM. That's a booty call. You don't need to have a reason to break up with someone other than not wanting to date them anymore. You don't need to wait until they do something wrong, yell at you, or anything else. If you want to break up, just do it. You don't need a reason to leave someone. Not to be confused with leaving someone without communicating it's over or any type of ghosting. Don't let anyone convince you that your relationship needs to come before yourself, school, work, your mental health, your future, your other relationships, etc. It's so important to find balance between relationships and other parts of your life. Also, I know when you're all head over heels for someone, it's easy to want to spend all your time with them and accidentally block out other people. Don't isolate yourself in a bubble of codependency. Set time aside away from your partner to spend time with friends, even if they're mutual friends. Maintaining friendships outside of a partnership is key for 2 reasons. 1. Do you really want to be that couple that can't function without each other in a social setting? You don't. 2. If things go south and you end up separated, it's important to have a support group. That's my bit anyways. Good luck. See. Never make someone a priority in someone's life when you are just an option. If he cheats on you, leave them. They may promise up and down it was a mistake. More often than not, it is some indication of their quality as a person and how much they respect you. Don't be intimidated by anyone. Everyone is a dork on the inside, and no one is cooler than anyone else. Afraid of being awkward? Everyone is awkward. Who cares? Move on. I figured this out in my 20s and suddenly realized I could talk to anyone without feeling shy or weird. Even the people I thought were too cool for me, like the lead singer of my favorite local band. I married him. Don't leave one for another. The grass is not always greener on the other side. You'll get over him, her. Give it time. There will be another come along when the time is right. Don't settle. If someone doesn't want you to do your best at your chosen field, drop kick them to the curb. Someone who truly cares for you will ask, what are your goals? How can I help, and encourage you to achieve success. Good people don't hold you down. They stand with you as you go for what you want. Currently watching my best friend deal with a boyfriend who tells her, a 22-year-old with a business degree and no children, that she shouldn't get a job simply because he, 0 education, working an unstable hourly job, paying child support to his ex, likes to be in charge of the money and wants her at home to cook for him. She wants to work and he literally says it's not allowed. Pulling my hair out over here. I remember the 60s. It's normal to, even subconsciously, have checklists like must be taller than I am, make more money than I do, have a college degree, etc. They all sound reasonable, but I would recommend taking a step back and testing the waters outside that box a little bit. Even after I got an engineering degree and started making boatloads of money, I never seriously thought that I would date a guy who made less money than I did. Then I met my husband, a social worker with a high school diploma, and the chemistry was awesome. We just started talking at a bar one day and never stopped talking. I had this moment where I was like, oh crap, I might have to support a family on my income, so I buckled down, got master's degree, took my career up a notch, thought seriously about long-term plans, and we're trying for our first kid right now. He's going to quit his job after I start maternity leave. Life is great. Never date a guy you feel like you continuously have to win over or perform for. Don't marry a guy just because you're in love with him. Infatuation like that doesn't last long enough to support a marriage. At the end of the day, you're looking for a business partner of sorts. Someone who can pick up the slack when you need them to, and vice versa. When you're sick, they run to the drugstore at midnight and get cough syrup. Run errands that need to be done. You remind each other to call the doctor vet. You care about the mundane details of each other's lives. You don't need to be a certain height or have a diploma or certain income in order to do that. At the end of the day, you're looking for a business partner of sorts. That's a big thing for me. I want someone responsible and hardworking that I trust completely. Don't take every breakup like a personal affront. Sometimes two good people just are not meant to be together. Doesn't make them bad people, just incompatible. You don't have to kiss them or put out just because you feel bad, or it feels expected. I regret a few times because of this. Listen to your gut feeling. If you think something is off about him, you're probably right. Don't lower your standards to prove you're not like all those B who think they're better than me to a nice guy, because you'll regret it. And lastly, sex and love are different. Just because someone keeps coming back to you doesn't mean he loves you. He loves the fact you were always there, and an easy lay for him. If you're on a date that involves drinking water before each drink, especially in summer, start learning your limit with drinks. This doesn't mean pass out drunk. It means try not to go beyond tipsy, and recognize when you may not be able to make choices the same way you would sober. For other things, you don't owe others your time. Get comfortable with spending time doing cool crap by yourself. Then when someone wants to get all up in your schedule, ask yourself, are they adding value here? I use this to figure out if a guy could add anything to my nice evening of loud music, wine, and painting titties. And you know what? He couldn't. So bye. Crap testing is bad, from both men and women. Don't put up with it. Being able to make a man blush is hot and powerful. Get yourself some sexual confidence, or fake it till you make it. Patience. Not everyone is comfortable freaking after knowing someone a week. Some people take a while to open up and trust. Don't treat others as part of a rib feast you're sloppily gobbling your way through without thinking. Savor and appreciate, or not. Just remember, both parties are human beings and have had to live a life's worth of experience before your date. Don't stay with someone just because they are good at being a boyfriend and do all the nice boyfriend duties. Be with someone who you love and respect. On the flip side, don't date someone who is dreamy and charming who sucks at doing the boyfriend things. Be with someone who loves and respects you. You won't fix a relationship by getting married and having kids. Don't sign away your life unless you feel good about things already. Don't ever stay with someone just because you're used to the comfort of being in a relationship. I realized long ago that my fear of loneliness had been holding me back from ending toxic relationships. You will always have friends and family to support you. You don't need to stay with horrible people just because you've gotten comfortable. If you find yourself frequently making excuses for your SO, stop. If they care about you, they'll try to not do things to embarrass you. If they can't agree, it's often because they're self-centered. You know when that creep alert rings in your head, you should listen to it, and stepping on toes absolutely comes second to your emotional well-being and security. Also, you aren't a charity worker. If you don't want to date someone, you aren't forced to because he has feelings for you. You can't make someone love you. Even if you love them with all your heart and give them everything you have, you can't make them love you back. And no matter how painful it will be, you have to accept that and walk away. Sometimes it just doesn't work out how you want it to, and that sucks, but you can't stick around waiting for him or her to feel the same way about you when they never really will. You'll just end up resenting them when they don't sacrifice the same things you have, while at the same time wasting your own life giving up everything for them. Not something I had to learn, but that more young women need to really be made aware of. Sex shouldn't be a chore, and you should expect to get to come, not just the guy. There are guys who are good and unselfish in bed, and if you're having sex with someone who only cares for penetration and for his own orgasm, stop having sex with him. Sex isn't a one-sided thing. Both parties should get something out of it. You shouldn't have to be 25-30 before realizing sex can be really enjoyable. I was in my late teens before I had an experience outside of sex. Starts when the guy gets hard and ends when he comes. All of my developmental years, guys were for a particular fetish, women were for actual pleasure. It was glorious, and once I knew pleasure could be obtained from men, now it's the expectation. Learn to say no, and understand that you don't need to justify yourself. If you just really don't want something, or someone, no, it's okay to say no just because you're not feeling it. Don't overexert yourself to gain their approval. Don't do everything for them if they don't do anything for you. Know your worth. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.